Liverpool 1, Brighton 2. This is just my official match reaction, pure rage out of the last game, and it's just the same old, you know. It's the same old Liverpool. It's just a different week. It's not even a situation where it's a different month, it's a different year, it's a different manager. No, it's just the same Liverpool as last week. I support Liverpool Football Club. I love Liverpool Football Club, and I would love them to succeed. But it's getting to a point now where I end up going into games hoping we lose so that the manager can get sacked, so that this manager can leave my football club. Because here's the unfortunate reality of the situation here, guys. Everybody can talk to any Liverpool fan about we're still in the Champions League quarterfinals, we're still in the FA Cup, we're still on track to still have a great season. The reality of the situation is we're not going to win anything under this manager. We're not winning the Champions League, and we're not beating Man City. That's just not happening. Especially with the fact that it's away at the Etihad. If it was at Anfield, it'd be like, okay, maybe we got a chance. But we're away at the Etihad, and we have this manager. Arne Slot. Listen, Arne, yeah? It's nothing personal. It's really nothing personal. You have given me as a Liverpool fan, some of my happiest moments, sitting with my dad and watching Liverpool lift the Premier League title. But it's starting to get to a point now of where I genuinely, it feels like I'm putting myself through torture watching this Liverpool team. And let me be honest with you, the players here are not inexcusable. Upon watching if you watch the Brighton game, Konate's got to do better on marking. I think Konate's marking, has definitely been a poor aspect this season. Because here's the thing, he's oftentimes bailed up by Van Dijk. Van Dijk clears away most dangers in the air. You'll notice that often teams target Konate, and they find large amounts of success. And Brighton was one of the days today. They come down the right side, their right, our defense's right side, and their left, and they find large amounts of success. That's how they found both their goals. Now, the first goal is just poor marking from Konate. The second goal has a couple of people that should be trialed in the UN. Some of their marking was terrible. Gravich's tracking and marking of the central row was absolutely poor. This Liverpool team, I don't understand where this comes from, where they give up so easily. They oftentimes you'll find Liverpool players, especially on replays, just standing there when a ball is being swung in and there's a rebound. They just stand there. Why? Why do they just stand there? I don't get it. And ultimately, yeah, Liverpool scored today. It's a large scale, probably some luck. Milos Kirk's got on the score sheet. I thought Kirk was really nice when he was really energetic. But ultimately, what this game is going to come down to for me is the manager. Because no matter what happens, right? And why I think Arne Slot should be getting sacked anyways, because the amount of games that have lost because of fine margins, that they should have never even got to that stage. I know this football club should not be losing as many games as they are losing based off the amount of money and the players we have brought in. Arne Slot has failed to adapt and has failed to properly instill a proper way of playing within this team. And I don't think it's anywhere it helps us anymore when you look at the Champions League. Because it's very clear what Arne Slot wants to do. Arne Slot wants to almost do what PSG has done, in terms of having a fluid attacking system, a technically based midfield, a stronger defense, and possession-based football. That's what he wants. That's why he continues to play McAllister, because he's our most technically gifted midfielder. And I sit there and I just think to myself, I see what you're trying to do, Arne, but you have failed to understand and grasp why it actually works. Now, there's a stat a commentator said that he states that in 26 of Liverpool's 30 games, Liverpool have been outrun. Now, this is a statistic that is not as significant as I think people make it out to be. People will claim that because it's the Premier League, running and power and all that whatnot is also needed so that, you can do everything on the football field. But if anything of the post Champions League results has told us anything, is that can be replaced by technical brilliance and ability on the ball. That's why of teams, the Premier League teams, were all dog walked this Champions League. Atletico Madrid, PSG, Real Madrid, and Barcelona sent their teams packing. No team didn't catch smoke. I don't care if Spurs actually won the game against Atletico Madrid. For Atletico Madrid to win 5-2 and it should have been like honestly 8-2, that speaks levels. And it comes down from the fact of these teams are much better technically and have much better ways of passing than the Premier League. For anyone that is complaining about the Liverpool team saying that they lack physicality in the midfield, you are right, they do lack it. But the only reason why they lack it is because they don't make up for it in the way they play and how quickly they play. Guys, here's the relative situation. Barcelona went up against Newcastle, probably the most physical midfield in the world. Bruno Guimaraes and Tonali is an absolute workers. They are the example of athletes within the midfield. Athletes, pure athletes. Guys that are in the trenches, bro. Those guys are in the trenches. But they got absolutely ruined by Pedri, by Bernal, and Fermin Lopez. Not because they're more physical, not because they're overwhelmingly quicker than him, even though I will say Fermin Lopez is quicker than Tonali, which is where they score one of their goals. Fermin's explosive pace. But it's more about their fluidity and how they move. They move teams, their midfield, positions their midfield in a way that opens up passing lanes for their winger. It opens up passing opportunities for other midfielders. They are constantly moving. They are constantly chopping and changing. And it's the same thing with the PSG squad. The PSG midfield is constantly rotating. Sometimes Fabian Ruiz will be at the center of the heart of the team, and you will find Vitinho maybe on the right and João Neves maybe off the left, or you will find maybe João Neves is in the middle, destroying and playing there. Maybe Vitinho's on the right, and then Fabian Ruiz is on the left, and then sometimes it'll be Vitinho in the midfield, João Neves, Fabian Ruiz. You get what I'm saying? They are constantly chopping and changing. They're constantly moving. They're constantly using their fluidity and their intelligence and technical ability to absolutely ruin more physical midfields. Midfields that are way more for running. That's how Man City have been so successful. Man City have almost never had the most physical midfielders, but their technical brilliance and their constant moves midfields and dismantles midfields in ways that why the Premier League has never had this issue before. The Premier League's always been physical, but we've seen with teams like Man City where they absolutely ruin them from a technical standpoint. Now, let me not pretend and act like you can have history that this isn't the case. Liverpool have definitely a lot more workers in the team than they did about 5 years ago. About 5 years ago, we had players like Jordan Henderson, Fabinho, Gini Wijnaldum, James Milner, Oxlade-Chamberlain. These guys will run you into the ground. They run you into the ground, bro. Naby Keita when he was fit. These guys are athletes, bro. They were athletes in the team. But looking at the team now, you can say that comfortably that maybe Dominic Soboslai is the only player that should put there. But the technical ability on these guys is way better than any of the Liverpool team in the past. That's why this Liverpool team is recording more and more possession. But also the way that possession is being withheld. Oftentimes, if you actually look at it, it's Van Dijk, Kanate on the ball, and McAllister on the ball. It's never really Wirtz who's touching the ball as much. It's never really Soboslai who's touching the ball as much. Hell, even Gravenberch doesn't even appear in the top 3 in terms of touches per 90. It's the centre-backs and McAllister who drops deeper. And that's a problem in and of itself. Because if your midfielders are not touching the balls, or at least the midfielders that are more advanced, not touching the balls, they're not really creating anything. You're not using the position wisely. You're not constantly creating dangerous chances. And that's the biggest problem with the Liverpool team. And that's why I go back to the manager. The way this Liverpool team wants to build out of the back It's just laughable. It's laughable. There were so many times in this Brighton game where you look at the way Liverpool is trying to build up from the back, and it's laughable. The ball gets played out to Kanate. Kanate can't go in the midfield because there's somebody in front of him. Uh, Curtis Jones, he plays it to Curtis Jones. Maybe occasionally he'll find the line sprawl between the two strikers. McAllister will go out wide to Curtis Jones, and Curtis Jones will end up, or Frimpong will end up just standing there while there's no mobility and there's nothing from anybody else. Everyone's just almost standing there waiting for the ball to be placed in their feet so that they can attempt to break the line. There's no actual identity or way of actually wanting to build it from the back. There's nothing. You just sit there, the ball just gets played out there, and then eventually, once they recover the ball goes back and forth at such a slow pace that damn it, you can walk. You can be the central midfielder and you can shuffle, just walk slightly across to cover up the space for Liverpool. There's no running, there's no sprinting across the midfield so that you can go and cover because Liverpool's moving the ball around quickly, and that's the biggest problem. This Liverpool team is too slow in its tempo to build up. They are too slow. That's why teams oftentimes can just get the ball from us, because we move the ball so slowly that you can end up having players and teams that basically force you into a gap. That's why they get crowded. That's why we end up playing the ball into our goalkeeper. The goalkeeper goes long. We don't have players that can win headers. We never had. We never have. Not since Peter Crouch. We lose the ball. Maybe we get it back in the midfield by sheer pressing of Soboslai or whatnot. We maybe get a counter attack, and then we get a corner. That's how we play. That's how we play. And it's completely down to this manager. Now, what does this mean for Liverpool going forward? Well, it means, first of all, that we're not winning anything. PSG is gonna... Oh my days, PSG. Oh my gosh. If you guys think the PSG performance last year to Parc de France was bad, you guys are in for it now, bro. This PSG is gonna make mincemeat of this Liverpool squad. Mincemeat. It's over. It's over. I kind of wish we could forfeit because I really know it's gonna be bad. FA Cup, we're probably not gonna win it because I don't see us getting past Man City. Can't even say win the Carabao Cup. This guy on the slot threw away the Carabao Cup. Oh my days. And the Premier League, look, I have to go and see how Chelsea's playing, but even if they're not, I'm sure there'll be other teams. Aston Villa, for example. I don't even know why I'm trying to count out Aston Villa, bro. They'll probably make top 4. We probably will be playing in the Europa League next season, and that will hurt us. Not just because of financially, but because of how the type of talent we can bring in with our competition. Look, I'm going to go and watch a few other Premier League games or go watch some Liverpool match reactions. If you guys have enjoyed this video and me just ranting about how dismal Liverpool is, hit the like button, subscribe. Yeah, check in the next one, guys.